A first look at the Peugeot 5008 here on Autogefühl, special coverage Geneva Motor Show. And we will also compare this one here to the little smaller brother, the 3008, to see what is, the real difference and for whom may it be the 3008 better and for whom maybe the 5008. And we will start right here with the 5008 because this one is the new car presented here. The 3008 very soon Autogefühl on the full driving review then. Here you see the front grille has this special, small horizontal fin structure. It's a new design element here, front view camera and a very strong lower part here in the highest trim level. So very sporty, and this is also the scheme of this new car. So far the 5008 was a van and now it's moving over to SUV. 5008 and 3008 do share some design lines. For example, this one here above the wheel arches, first of all the crossover look, and then you see this stance here that accentuates the wheel arch below that. This is the same also with the 3008. And the bonnet, it's really upright, reminds me a little bit Range Rover style, doesn't it? 18-inch rims here, usually starts with smaller ones, those ones are optional available. Then contrasting mirror caps, a very strong part right here. See, it leaps a little out, definitely. No strong design line at the rear. You see probably saving also some space on the interior. And then this is the real difference to the 3008. This one here, a little bit longer. And that makes also this very long appearance here with the low frame. The frame, by the way, is from rubber. That's a little bit strange. I would expect it to, that they put it in chrome. But you have the roof rails, and then you see from this setup that you won't lose too much space on the interior because this is more built for form follows function. And the rear, well, here you still see those van genes because we have a very steep rear window, but that will also leave us a lot of room on the interior. Here those tiger claw taillights, I think very well done. In general, the 3008 looks sportier, more agile in the rear, but then again, this one is also set up to have more luggage. And from the outside, you can already see the cover here of the boot entry. And then let's open that stuff. Electric hatch available. So here we go. Wow, there's a huge hatch. And here we can also see how much room there is left. Sorry, it's a little bit dark here, but that's the setup here on the motor show. Just a little room left if you fold up the last seat row, the third seating row. But it's also possible to fold them down. And here we go. You have to fold up this one here. And, this one, by the way, is a cover directly also for the boot that you do not damage anything when loading things out. Pretty interesting solution. But then here you have to flip the switch. Whoa, that goes fast. To be careful not to squish your fingers. And then you see this is the boot we have then when the seats are folded flat. And then you can, to cover it again, also fold it right there. I'm not sure if this solution here is the most handy one. So there we go. So a little strange, the solution. And then there's also another gap right there to the next seat. So let's say it works, but I have seen better solution to hide the third seating row and to release it again. And the other way around again. So while hiding those seats is a little bit complicated, it's easier here. One hand. Here as well. That's, folding them up. That is a pretty easy solution. You probably thought it this way around. What about child safety here with the rear hatch? Let's see if that runs right. Whoa, that's too much talk. So, whoa, that went strongly. I would maybe decrease the torque there a little bit for safety reasons. Let's get inside. Door closing test first. Why not? Sounds quite solid. Then, what is interesting here, some harder plastics, but it looks pretty good from the design. And here, this dark cloth or grey cloth, pretty interesting material, and I think this is going in the very right direction. So very beautiful and good to feel, very natural. Some storage space at the inside of the doors, right there. Then if we move on to the interior, it's a pretty different layout than all other SUVs. First of all, the small steering wheel we already know from a 300, 108, for example, also. Then those gauges, they are now fully digitally available. And they are pretty far away from the steering wheel. But the thing is, they want to put them high up above, that you don't have to, have a head-up display, for example. Then the seats, also this interesting grey cloth is being used. I think it creates a good living room atmosphere. On the outside, I don't have the information at the moment from I haven't seen the price list, if it's leather red or animal skin, but I think it should be real. I'm not exactly sure. We have to recheck that with the price list. But it's great that they use this cloth mainly. So definitely going in the right direction. Also here in the higher trim level. Seating position, you sit relatively upright. Have a lot of room right here, and it's a really modern atmosphere. Almost a futuristic atmosphere due to the small. It's basically a racing steering wheel, and those gauges. Well, you always have to see, what is blocking what. So when I have to sit, I have to have the steering wheel in the highest position. So that's the highest position possible. You can go lower and also put it in and out again, but not really higher, because also that would totally block the view. And also for me, for example, the lower part is being blocked by the steering wheel, but I can see, for example, the main speed. Then in the middle part, this reminds me a little bit of a Mazda put-in infotainment system now. A bigger one is now available, and also with the touch screen. You see here, you can also zoom in and out. It could be a little bit faster for sure. Then there's the basic menu from design. Also reminds us a little bit of other infotainment systems from Peugeot, Citroën they've been using before. So just to click a little bit around, here's the menu again. For example, here options. It could be a little bit faster, I guess. Very interesting design element is this cockpit atmosphere we already know from the 3008. And those are the hotkeys for the infotainment system, or also if you want to go for the temperature. And you have to click this one here and then control the vents in the infotainment system. So there are no separate controls for the vents. Only for seat heating, that is done separately here. But I think a great design, also this sculptural furniture design here with the cloth again. So that's something very different, and I really say I love that design. Something different, unique, and just likable. Then there's also an off-road gear selector, for example, here for snow, ice, also for sand driving. This optimizes the all-wheel drive system. Here at the moment there's a 6-speed manual, which is, well, it could be a little bit smoother to shift. I'm hitting the clutch at the moment, of course. Then there's also sport mode that you can turn up the RPMs a little bit, but will more play a role in the automatic version. Adaptive beverage holders. Here they have taken over the Mercedes system to open the middle part of the armrest. Not sure where this one is supposed to stay. Here you can put them on here, for example, or maybe in the rear. And wow, this goes quite deep in there, and also is with some light. It's also good for the camera. And if they use this system, this is good because there can be no shaky armrest. So this one makes a good quality impression indeed now. As impressive the interior is, as limited is the view. I mean, we're standing a little bit upside now, but you can see the hood is very high, obviously also for design reasons, and that blocks a little bit the view if you want to park in and out, for example. And let's get in the rear, and I've left the driver's seat as I would be driving, and wow, I mean, that's the real secret of the 5008. You see to the lower part here of the front seat I have a lot of leg room left. Of course, for more comfort I can put up the head restraint, also the same nice layout with the grey fabric in the rear. Just of course because the rear bench is quite high actually, and if you then have this table here, I'm not sure what's the sense of that. Maybe for children it's good, because it reaches further to them, but maybe not that well thought through for adults. However, thought through is more that you can change the seating layout here in the lengths. So now when I'm sitting here, it's good. You can really vary to have more trunk or to have more legroom here. That is very well done. Headroom wise, yeah, I'm already touching my head, and one is 86 or 6'1". And if you leave out the panoramic roof, then you would have a little bit more headroom. But it's probably because you sit that high here in the rear. So this is truly a kids car, not necessarily for adult travel in the rear, but really for kids. Because also, that's quite seldom that you have 3 Isofix anchors here. That's 6 overall. I mean, 2, 2, 2. So for 3 child seats. So also in the middle, and there are also then the top tethers here on each of the rear of the seats. You can also feel them. So truly a family vehicle, and also with a stepped up build interior quality. So overall quite promising if you want to have something, not so much van style anymore, more in the crossover style, more elegant also with a stepped up interior. Then carry a lot of children with you guys. Just on the very last seats, those are just emergency seats, because there are also, for example, no Isofix anchors. Only if you want to maybe install a child seat, then normal over the seat belts, but I'm not sure, that might get a little bit tricky in the 3rd seating row. By the way, to fold flat the 2nd seating row, that works like this. Also the lower part goes a little bit down. So it's a pretty interesting solution. Here also you can see the top tether, which are not available on the 3rd row. And the 3rd row can be accessed right there. This might get loose over time. So here we go. And well, for adults it doesn't make any sense. And for children, then again, the question is, how can you install child seats without a top tether and without Isofix? Give me your feedback there. How do you do it? And now let's compare the 3008, the smaller brother. You can see it, that's quite obvious. Also has a pretty interesting front grille with a grid structure and those horizontal fins here as well. And the hood, you can see, has a special part here in the front that reduces the insurance cost, because you then don't have to replace the very front hood. And overall, of course, a more SUV appearance from the outside, because it's not that long. The 5008 more a van crossover mix, for example. This one here still looks more off-road stylish, but of course even more than any other models from Peugeot before. Side profile, but also 18-inch rims, and again you can see the resemblance here with the carved structure above the wheel arches. Then also the 3D look in the lower part, but no real design line here on the side. And that looks a little bit angular with a lot of the other competitors. And then here the side profile is raising a little bit. Also this rubber part here on the frame is being used. That's one of the parts here I don't like so much. Everything else is really likable. Then the roof rails, and you see this graphic here. This is a little bit joyful. I mean, it's not a really clean design. It's more to attract some sculptural attention, I would call it. Not that strong shoulders, just a little bit here. And then also the window line is falling flatter down than the one of the 5008. Now the 3008, more dynamic rear, but same tiger claws here, little flatter window line. We can also open the electric hatch. Here we go. So, and here no 3rd seating row, but then reasonable space on the interior. It's a little bit dark right in there, but maybe I can put you some light here, some more light. It's not really useful. So below that one here we have a replacement tire that is available, and you can already flip the seats from here, and they fold flat if the head restraints would be down. And I can easily do that, that's no problem. So they have to pay attention to that the head restraints are down. So here we go now. There's also one top tether here at the left side, and also another one at the right side. Let's get inside here with the 3008. Some music playing. Let's make it silent. So also have electric seats control here. You can also lengthen the seating area. So both possible, and it's again a very futuristic interior, and it's pretty similar to the one of the 5008. And we can put the steering wheel also higher. Again, this very futuristic cockpit layout, I really liked it. The hood is a little bit lower, so you have a better overview to the front. That's positive about the 3008 for sure. Headroom-wise, well, there's a panoramic roof inbuilt, but still, at least even for 190 or 6'2", you have no problems as for the headroom. It's a little bit more spacious than in the 5008. It's also a bigger car, but they are actually really similar as for the interior, so you don't have to get used to something else. Also with the middle console, with the flipping mechanism here, and I think the build quality has really been stepped up also here, again with the cloth, and this is the glove box we can see here. It's pretty voluminous, not too wide, but goes pretty deep in there, and also, well, a lot of room in there. So overall, this is really a surprise, this interior. Again, I mean, first time we presented it in the Paris Motor Show, soon we'll drive it, and we also can take how it behaves like with the instruments and the steering wheel. But I like that this one here is a very unique approach of building an interior cockpit. Here we go with the rear compartment. What's the difference? So first of all, you sit lower than in the 5008, so it's more set up for for adults. And knee room wise, it does exactly fit for me, but nothing more. So we do have some compact SUVs that score a little bit better in this case. Headroom wise, it still works for me. Again, if you want to save some more headroom, then you should also leave out the panoramic roof we have inbuilt here. Then in the middle part, you can fold down some beverage holders. You can also use it here as a ski hatch, and oh, my arm is gone. So that's also possible, and Isofix at the lower parts, so at the outer seats each. So you also have the possibility to put it in 2 child seats easy here in the rear. Yeah, I mean, I think the knee room could be a little bit better, but I think the reason is also, you see the seats. They are pretty voluminous, so that's the reason. That's not so much room left here in the rear. And overall, I think still a very attractive interior, very interesting. Again, the approach they're taking. And if you compare them to the 5008, of course you have more legroom. But then again, if you take the table, then so really the one is the child's car, and this one here, surely the one you can also have children with. Sure. No, not with the car. You know what I was meaning. You. But then again, this one also suitable, just for even for a young couple or even for older couple. I think this car is pretty universal. And with the product manager of the 5008 and the 3008, Vincent Arid, we will sum up our today's comparison of those two cars. So from your perspective, I mean, you obviously had something in mind. So why do you have those two cars, and why did you move them more in this crossover SUV direction?
Yeah, we have two cars in the C SUV segment, but we have two complementary offers. The 3008 is very compact for families with, let's say, one children, and the 5008 is very much longer for bigger families, let's say, with 2 children or 2 youngsters.
What about the technology? I mean, they have a lot of similarities. Do they sit on the same platform, and also what's the price difference?
Yeah, this is the same platform, the new platform EMP2. The 5008 is approximately 20 centimeters longer than the 3008, especially on the wheelbase, around 17 centimeters. And the different price, the price difference between the two cars is around 2,000 euros, including the 7-seater, the third row.
That's included then already. Yeah. Is it a standard equipment, the 7-seater and the 5008?
It depends on the country. In Germany, it's an option, but in France, where it is a standard equipment, the price difference between the two body types is 2,000 euros.
So the price difference is very little, I really have to say. We did see there's a new fabric used on the seats that looks very classy and living room alike. Yeah. And there was also some leather insets. Is it animal skin or is it leatherette you're using there as a contrast?
No, it's leatherette. We have half fabric, half leatherette for this trim on Allure, and it is also the case on GT line.
So that's a very sustainable solution then. I'm very pleased by that, because we always pay attention to that, of course. So you basically can get this option. I know it's available with some premium cars. Is it also possible at Peugeot to get a leather-free steering wheel as an option, like asking the dealer, can you do that? Is that possible?
No, in these two cars we have a leather steering wheel from the first level access, and we have full grain leather up to the second level active.
So maybe that with the steering wheel could be something for the future to offer the customers. I think Mercedes already offers it, but they also have more margin. But maybe you can do that in the future, for example. But I mean, that's with the seats is starting. Do you also have the feeling that customers more and more demand sustainable solutions?
Yes, but it is compatible with natural raw materials such as the wood we have inside the GT version, for example.
And maybe your very favorite piece about the two cars. What's your favorite piece? As a program manager, you know the car in detail. Actually, what's your favorite piece?
I think the masterpiece is the new Peugeot iCockpit, the dashboard. It's very brand new. It's very modern, attractive, and it enhances the driving sensation in board the two cars.
Does it always come with a digital layout, or does it start with an analog gauges?
No, it's always digital from the first level access, and it is very new in the segment, and we are the only one to propose this kind of cluster as a standard equipment.
Very interesting, and maybe as a last engine information, which one will be the most important engines here for the car?
We think it will be the 2.0-liter Blue HDI, 150 horsepower, but also the 1.6 Blue HDI, 120 horsepower with the E86.
What about petrol engines? Some choice there?
Yeah, we have 3 petrol engines, such as the 3008, 2 in PureTech, 1.2 liters, 130 horsepower in mechanic and automatic transmission, and 1 THP of 165 horsepower with the automatic gearbox E86.
And looking into the future, I mean, for a compact SUV, a lot of guys are working on it at the moment. Just Mitsubishi with the Outlander offers a plug-in hybrid you can actually pay. Others like way too expensive. Is it also possible for Peugeot that you think about equipping such cars with also electrification?
Yeah. The 3008 is part of the project, the PHEV project, plug-in hybrid, which will come lately in 2019. Excuse me. So yes, we will have an electrification on board this car.
Very interesting. We're looking forward to that, and soon also check out our full driving review of the 3008, and then also later, of course, then at the later stage, followed by the 5008. Thank you so much for this insight.
Thanks a lot.